Hello, everybody. Welcome back. This is Ginny O'Leary and Rhona Konnelly, and we are partners for positive change for you, the consumers in the Canadian insurance industry. So if you were with us in our last session, we talked about the importance of why it's good to know the type of insurance that you own and where you bought it from. And the session before that was actually, the previous session before that was actually about why it's important to take a look at what you already own and why it's important to know what you own and whether or not you're receiving the annual reviews with your advisor about what you already own. So today, Rhona, I'm going to have you lead into what our topic for this session is.
Thank you, Ginny, and we are so glad you're back. We hope that you will tune in to each of the series we have planned for you because we've decided to break it down into little pieces that are easy to grasp and easy to relate to your own situation. And Ginny, as you mentioned, we talked about last time why it's important to understand the insurance you own. Oh my goodness, maybe it's because people don't review it or their advisor hasn't reviewed it that they tend to forget, or they don't recall what the advisor said. And because nothing is reinforced in that regard, people end up feeling a bit confused about what the right insurance is that they should own. For example, let's start this particular session today with a little bit of education on the types of insurance that a consumer can even buy when it comes to life insurance. And of course, I like to think of it as renting insurance versus owning insurance. That's one way to think about it. And when we think about renting insurance, well, what does that mean? Well, maybe we only are going to have it for a short period of time because our needs are temporary. And we are thinking that how do we get the most insurance for the most reasonable cost, knowing that that need might be short term. For example, when you reach the day that you feel that you don't have the same needs for young children, or that you don't have the debt load that you have today, or you have a young business, and then over time that business may grow to where you'll outgrow the need for that insurance. But having said that, that doesn't mean that the need for the insurance goes away. It just means that the type of insurance has to evolve to where you are in your life at that new place in time. So term insurance, that's exactly what the renter's type, the temporary coverage is called. And wouldn't you say, Ginny, that there's lots of terminology out there? You can buy 20-year term, you can buy 10-year term, you can pick the term you want, or you can have a term policy that's there until you pass away.
Absolutely. So one of the things that's very attractive about term insurance, and I'm sure many of you have probably experienced this when you were talking to your financial institution, especially if you were carrying a mortgage, that was the first thing that they offered. And I will share that what I have seen, and this actually ties into our one of our earlier sessions, is when Rhona talked about, why is it important to know where your insurance comes from? So when you think term insurance, all of you, I'm pretty sure every single person is familiar. Here's what I will share with you. In my whole career, over 20 years, I have seen where sometimes clients or an advisors working with me has term insurance and they happen to have it tied to a financial institution that carries their mortgage. And what I am going to share with you around that particular type of term insurance is that it's very good to always talk to your advisor about that, because there are certain limitations around that that may later on come up as you have some lifestyle changes. So on the term insurance side, if it's beginning to sound familiar and you're thinking you have it with your tied in with your mortgage, this is a perfect session to listen to. Really perfect session. So go ahead, Rhoda, because I think this is, something that I've come across, but I know our audience is probably going to find some valuable information with what you share.
Excellent point, Ginny. Many individuals have term insurance to cover their mortgage, and they don't realize the limitations if their life changed and they needed to move their mortgage, or they reached a certain age where the mortgage coverage had reduced down and they were not healthy enough to buy the additional insurance they needed. So if anyone's listening that has mortgage insurance, in their mind, what they feel is mortgage insurance through their financial institution, right now you call your advisor and you get a review. We're going to leave it at that, right? We're going to invite you to have a review. Reach out to us if we can help. When we go to the whole purpose of why a person buys term insurance, it isn't just cost. It's the ease with which the choices are there, not a complicated product. And you know, Ginny, I'm reminded back in the early days of my career where the majority of my clients were as old as me. They were young. They were not thinking about financial planning or even retirement. What word is that? But they knew that they needed to have something. And I said, you need a foundation to protect your insurability. Buy as much term insurance as you can qualify for and afford if you're a young business owner or you're a young individual, because one day you may wish that you had more. And if you can't qualify, that's a problem. When I delivered that term policy, I explained to my clients, here are your options. So right now, today, this is the simple plan that you need. We have done a needs analysis, which always was redone at least every 3 to 5 years. And here's what your needs are based on your current situation. But in the future, when your needs change, you have options to better the situation, because a term policy bought 5 years ago, those were 5-year-old needs. And today the needs might be different. Now, term insurance, oh my goodness, like which insurance company doesn't offer it, right? You can even get term insurance through the association if you're a member of an association. And people just have a tendency to think that there's no value in a term policy other than it's a death policy. But you know, that policy has the ability built into it to allow you to change it to something that better suits your needs. And next time we get together, we will talk about an example of how that type of coverage that has living benefits as well as a benefit that's there for the rest of your life to protect your estate. But don't overlook the value of having as much term insurance at the outset when you're starting to build your plan, when you're looking at protecting debts, when you're looking at protecting a family, when you're looking at leaving a legacy. Many people don't realize that a term policy has such valuable benefits built into it.
No, absolutely, Rona. And I think for all of you that are have made it this far, because we are going to wrap it up, these short sessions, I will say everything that Rona just talked about, if any of you are actually, and I'm just going to say this, Rona, there might be people thinking, oh, I have this term insurance. I'm in a different place financially. Perhaps I have, I've been very good. I've hit my financial goalposts and I don't think I need it anymore. Everything that she just said about hold off, don't just cancel it, all those points about taking a look at what your estate might need, all very good points to have that review. So Rona, do you want to maybe share a little bit about what you're interested in talking about in our next short session?
I would love to. Thank you, Ginny. And just another point on that to wrap up for the term insurance is that don't think that if you can find a cheaper rate out there, it means it's a better policy. Hold on to what you have before you consider making any changes. Now, speaking of changes and what we're going to talk about next time. Wow. So we've got some listeners who have some term policies and they're thinking, well, what is Rona talking about? I can change it to something different. We're going to talk about an opportunity that it has existed out there forever in the insurance industry. And in the probably early 80s, another type of policy was introduced in Canada. And maybe we'll break it down, Ginny, and we'll talk about those two different types. And we'll start with one where do you think it would interest you to know that the money that you're putting in towards the cost of the insurance can come back to you and can deliver some living benefits in the event that you become disabled, or if you have a need on any level to access the death benefit early? We're going to pique your interest with those few tidbits. And please join us next time and subscribe if you can to learn a little bit more about the landscape of insurance in Canada from the perspective of this insurance that you own for the rest of your life and will never go up in price.
Thank you so much, Rhona. So goodbye, everybody. We will see you in our next one.
See you next time.
See you next time.